let's move on to another grading system. By the way, I'm Rafa Jane Lagumbay Ubanan. Today, I'll be talking about Criterion-Referenced grading system. So what is Criterion-Referenced grading system? Criterion reference grading system is a method of assessing student performance based on a fixed criterion. When we say fixed, it means not able to be changed, while criterion it is a standard on which a judgment or decision may be based. Therefore, the criteria does not change regardless of the quality or lack thereof of the students. For that reason, the students must achieve the target in order to obtain a passing grade in a course, regardless of how the other students in the class perform. Another is it focuses on what student know and can do, rather than comparing their performance to their peers. Now, there's no need to compare because this kind of grading system focuses on one student progress. His or her performance is interpreted by describing what the student can do and cannot do with respect to the criteria. In other words, it's you versus criteria, your score versus criteria. The achievement of individual is compared to the criteria, not to their classmates or peers. This grading system is used to determine the learner's mastery of knowledge and skills. So here's an example of criterion reference grading system. So as you can see on the screen, we have a table there. So as you can see, we have numerical value, no? We have flat uno, which means excellent, which is equivalent to 98 to 100 or 85 to 100. We also have 1.5, which means good, which is equivalent to 88 to 97 or 80 to 84, followed by flat dos, which means fair, which is equivalent to 75 to 87 or 70 to 79, followed by flat tres, which means poor or pass, which is equivalent to 65 to 74 or 60 to 69. And lastly, we have cinco, which means failure, which is equivalent to below 65 or below 60. So an example here is in a class of 100 students, no one might get a grade of excellent if no one scores 98 above or 85 above, depending on the criterion used. So, for example, we use the first criterion, which is 98 to 100 to below 65. So, in Libertad National High School, there is a 100 student in Class A. Dayon, walay nakakuha og excellent nga grado. Kay wala may naka-attain or naka-obtain sa 98 and above. Diba? Familiar mo anang with honor, with high honor, and with highest honor. Diba? So, with honor, aya ka makakuha ana, no? Dapat ang imong grade is 90 to 94. Then kung gusto jud ka nga with high honor, dapat ang imong grade is 95 to 97. So dapat ma-achieve to nimo nga score. Then with highest honor, we have 98 to 100. So kung gusto jud ka pinaka-highest ka, kung gusto ka maka-achieve anang with highest honor, dapat ang imong grado is 98 to 100. Parehas pud na sa atua. Kung gusto ta ma-cum laude, dapat atong grado is 1.46 to 1.75. Kung gusto pud ta magna cum laude, dapat atong grado is 1.21 to 1.45. And kung gusto jud ta masuma cum laude, no, dapat atong grado is flat 1 to 1.20. So depende na sa school or university kung asa ka nagskwela kung unsa ang ilang grading system. But karon ang ginagamit jud nga grading system is the Criterion-Referenced grading system, even sa Naawan, sa Mindanao State University at Naawan. Also, there is no fixed percentage of students who are expected to get the various grades in the Criterion-Referenced grading system. So, walay naka-indicate dadto nga dapat 80% sa klase kay ma-achieve ning kuan excellent nga score, no, wala. Kung unsa lang joy kaya sa estudyante, kung ma-achieve na niya, okay, no, maayo, pero kung dili, it's still okay, no, wala may fixed percentage nga dapat inani jud. Now, let's move on to example number 2. So, unsa yung nakita sa example number 2? So, naatay rubric diri sa right side. So, naa po din tay grading criteria sa ubos. And then, diri sa left side, na diri ang score sa mga estudyante. So, let's consider a Criterion-Referenced grading system for a declamation performance with a total score of 100. So, the skills being assessed in a declamation performance based on the given criteria are mastery of the piece, delivery, nonverbal cues, facial expression, and costume if it is appropriate or not in his or her piece. And the grading criteria nga naa sa screen are as follows, no? Ang expert level, we have 90 to 100. Master level, we have 80 to 89. Apprentice level, we have 70 to 79. A novice level, we have below 70. So based on this criteria, student scores are categorized into different levels of proficiency. So, makita nato diri ang score sa mga estudyante. Nakita ba ninyo ang score sa mga estudyante? So, si student A got a score of 95, which is within the range of the expert level. So this means that student A performed exceptionally well in all criteria and demonstrated mastery of the piece, excellent delivery, appropriate nonverbal cues, clear facial expression, and relevant costume. Then si student B scored 84, which is within the range of the master level. This means that student B performed well in all criteria but may have had some minor lapses in one or two areas. Then student C scored 73, which is within the range of the apprentice level. This means that student C performed adequately in some areas but may have had significant lapses in one or more criteria. Then student D scored 62, which is below the novice level. So this means that student D did not perform well in most, if not all, criteria and may need more practice and guidance to improve their declamation, his or her declamation skills. So in summary, based on the scores provided, student A is the top performer, followed by student B, student C, and student D. So, importante jud nga naatay criteria para mahibal-an sa estudyante si sila nagkulang or asa sila maayo, asa sila nagkulang, no, para sa sunod ma-improve na to nila, para mahibal-an pud nila kung nganong inaana ang ilang score nga nadawatan, 'di ba? So, importante jud ang kanang Criterion-Referenced grading system. Now, let's move on to our last example. Tadaan! So, naagyapon diha atong rubric, atong grading criteria, and the scores of the students. So, let's consider a Criterion-Referenced grading system for building a structure like 3D style model project with a total score of 100. The skills being assessed in a 3D cell model project based on the given criteria are scientific knowledge, fluidity, materials, appearance, following instructions if they really followed or not. And the grading criteria nga makita ninyo sa screen are as follows. We have excellent level 91 to 100, good level 81 to 90, fair level we have 71 to 80, and poor level we have below 70. Based on the given grading criteria, no, let's interpret the scores of the student. So student A got a score of 98. So student A, no, has demonstrated exceptional performance across all area, no. Student A, scientific knowledge, fluidity, use of materials, appearance, and ability to follow instruction are all excellent. So we also have student B score of 86. So student B has shown a strong understanding of scientific knowledge and has performed well in following instruction. However, there is room for improvement in terms of fluidity, materials used, and appearances. Focus on enhancing these areas to further enhance your overall performance. And then student C score is 74. So student C has demonstrated a satisfactory level of scientific knowledge and ability to follow instruction. However, there is room for improvement in terms of fluidity, materials used, and appearance. Strive to enhance these areas to achieve a higher level of performance. And then student D score is 62. So student D performance indicates a need for improvement in all areas. Scientific knowledge, fluidity, materials used, appearance, and following instructions are all required attention. Now focus on strengthening this aspect to enhance your overall performance. So in summary, student A has excelled in all criteria. Student B has performed well with some areas for improvement. Student C has shown satisfactory performance with room for enhancement. And lastly, student D needs to work on improving across all criteria. So thus, in this criterion-referenced grading system, student scores are evaluated against predetermined standards or criteria. This approach allows for a clear assessment of students' individual performance. Now, what are the advantages of criterion reference grading system? So we have three advantages. First is objective assessment, followed by focus and mastery, and the last would be the individual progress. So first is subjective assessment. Criterion reference grading provides clear and specific criteria, ensuring consistent and fair evaluation. Second is it focuses on mastery. The students are assessed based on their understanding and mastery of specific skills or knowledge. And last would be the individual progress. This system allows for tracking individual progress and identifying areas for improvement. How about disadvantages? Now, it has also disadvantages. So first, we have limited comparison, followed by lack of differentiation, and last would be time consuming. So limited comparison, it can be challenging, no, to compare students' performance across different criteria as each student is evaluated against their own progress. And second is lack of differentiation. It may not adequately differentiate between high achieving students as they may all meet the same criteria. And last is time consuming. Developing and maintaining clear criteria for each assessment can be time consuming for educators. Now, where to use criterion reference grading system? So first, where the teachers are agreed on the meaning of a standard of performance in a subject, but the quality of the students is unknown or uneven. Criterion reference grading system is useful in situations where teachers have a shared understanding of what constitutes a specific standard of performance in a subject, but they are uncertain about the quality or abilities of the student. In such cases, the criterion reference approach allows teachers to assess students based on their individual mastery of specific criteria or standards rather than comparing them to their peers. This system helps ensure fairness and consistency in evaluating students' performance regardless of their varying abilities. Second is where there is no external driving factors, such as needing to systematically reduce a pool of eligible students. Criterion reference grading system is beneficial when there is no external pressure or requirement to limit the number of eligible students. Unlike norm reference grading system that ranks students based on their performance relative to their peers, criterion reference grading focuses on assessing students against predetermined criteria or standards. This approach allows for a more objective evaluation of students' mastery of specific skills or knowledge without the need to artificially limit the number of students who can achieve high grades. And last is where the work involves collaboration or teamwork. Criterion reference grading system is particularly suitable for assessing work that involves collaboration or teamwork. In such cases, it may be challenging to assign individual grades based on the overall group performance. Criterion reference grading allows teachers to evaluate each student's contribution and mastery of specific criteria or standards within the collaborative work. This approach ensures that each student's individual performance is recognized and assessed accurately, promoting fairness and accountability within the collaborative setting. Take note, in Criterion reference grading system, student can help a fellow student in a group work without necessarily worrying about lowering his grade in that course. This is because the Criterion reference grading system does not require the mean of the class as basis for distributing grades among the students. It is therefore an ideal system to use in collaborative group work. And there is another question. What prevents teachers who use criterion reference grading from setting the performance criteria so low that everyone can pass with ease? Teachers who use criterion reference grading are prevented from setting the performance criteria too low that everyone can pass. In fact, there are a variety of measures used to prevent this situation from ever happening in the grading system. First, we have collaborative criterion setting. So the criteria for performance should not be based solely on one teacher's opinion or standard. Instead, a group of teachers who teach the same subject should come together to establish the criteria collectively. This collaborative approach ensures that the criteria are well informed, comprehensive, and representative of the expected standard of performance. Then the second is public transparency. Once the criteria are established, they should be made public and open to scrutiny. This transparency ensures that the criteria are not arbitrary or subject to the personal preferences or biases of individual teachers. By making the criteria accessible to students, parents, and other stakeholders, there is accountability and an opportunity for feedback or challenge if the criteria are perceived as um, unfair or inappropriate. And by implementing these measures, criterion reference grading system aim to maintain fairness, objectivity, and consistency in assessing student performance, preventing the setting of excessively low criteria that would undermine the integrity of the grading process. Therefore, the Criterion Reference grading system is an effective method for assessing student performance based on a fixed criteria or standards, as it provides objective assessment, focuses on mastery, and allows for tracking individual progress. However, it has limitations in terms of comparison and differentiation. But with Criterion Reference grading system, a rich learning environment is to everyone's advantage. So students are rewarded for finding ways to help each other. That would be all about Criterion Reference grading system.